A bored spirit, inner boredom, existential emptiness, and the absence of conscious direction. The account, A Bored Spirit, presented in the second part of Heaven and Hell, brings a subtle and profoundly relevant teaching about a type of spiritual suffering that seems undramatic at first glance, but is extremely revealing: existential boredom, moral apathy, and lack of conscious purpose. The spirit manifests without apparent great pains, without intense revolt or deep remorse. What dominates its state is constant boredom, a feeling of emptiness, and a lack of interest in anything. This testimony shows that spiritual suffering is not only expressed as acute pain, but also as stagnation of consciousness, absence of motivation, and inner disorientation. Modern depth psychology helps to understand this state clearly. Chronic boredom is not simply a lack of stimulation, but a sign of disconnection between consciousness and a sense of life. When an individual does not develop elevated interests, internal goals, or commitment to something greater than themselves, a state of emptiness sets in that persists even when there is no evident suffering. Spiritism clarifies that this spirit does not suffer from great moral faults, but from inner uselessness. In life, they avoided effort, did not cultivate knowledge, did not commit to their own growth or the well-being of others. After passing, without the material entertainments that previously filled their time, consciousness finds itself left to its own devices and discovers that it has not built enough internal content to sustain itself. Modern science reinforces this reading by showing that the human mind needs challenges, learning, and meaning to maintain balance. Prolonged states of apathy are associated with a lack of existential engagement. In the spiritual realm, where time is not filled with physical distractions, this lack becomes even more evident. Another essential point of this testimony is that boredom is also suffering, although often underestimated. The absence of intense pain does not mean well-being. A stagnant consciousness, without direction and without the will to learn, finds itself in evolutionary delay. Boredom is the sign that consciousness needs to awaken to a new level of responsibility. Spiritism teaches that this state is not definitive. Boredom acts as a silent call to action. As the spirit understands that life has an educational purpose and that progress requires initiative, the desire to learn, to move inwardly, and to seek new horizons begins to emerge. This account offers an extremely current reflection. In a society saturated with superficial stimuli, many people experience the same type of emptiness described here. When distractions cease, boredom arises, revealing the need for deeper meaning. Spiritism shows that consciousness was not made for inertia, but for continuous growth. A bored spirit teaches us that it is not enough to avoid suffering. It is necessary to build meaning. Spiritual happiness does not arise from eternal rest, but from conscious activity, constant learning, and participation in the common good. Reflecting on this testimony is an invitation to inner action in the present. Developing elevated interests, learning, serving, and growing now is the best way to avoid emptiness later. Consciousness expands when it finds purpose. If this account helped you reflect on boredom, purpose, and inner growth, like, share, and leave your comment. Your participation helps this message reach more people.